If you're still looking to travel to the United States for the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup or 2026 FIFA World Cup, don't be naive. You're going to need to travel plan like crazy to ensure that you can get through the border in the first place. All right, y'all know the drill. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Click on the bell button so you're notified of all the latest videos I push out. Especially, I've been doing a lot more live, so you'll be notified of that. And make sure you like this video so in that way the algorithm on YouTube picks it up and sends it to all soccer fans because we all need to be having the same information when it comes to traveling to the United States for the World Cup. All right, so let's get into these tips, okay? Now, I'm going to be approaching them from a travel perspective or travel angle, okay? But many of these do require legal advice. So the first piece of advice I have to give you is to lawyer up, okay? Now, I know that attorneys could be expensive in many parts around the world, but I think it's going to be very helpful for you, right? If you already have your visa and, can enter the US, still consult with an attorney, see where any blind spots are, not only in your travels, but maybe in your background, right? Conduct a background check on yourself. And if you have any little bit of issues, right? And I'm not here to judge, but we all make mistakes in our lives. But if it's a legal mistake that you made and it's still on your record, your attorney might advise you not to travel to the US because they have been stopping folks here in the US for the tiniest of offenses that happened decades ago. Okay. So lawyer up, get a consultation in to conduct a background check and make sure that you have absolutely nothing in your record that's going to be used as an excuse by these CBP agents, Customs and Border Protection agents, or ICE agents for that matter as well, to arrest you. Okay. That's the first piece of advice. Related to that, in terms of the legal sphere, make sure that when you are entering the country, or even before, of course, and while you're traveling within the US, have the numbers of your embassy and of your consulate in hand. It would be a very good idea for you to know, okay, I can depend on a consulate here, here, and here. Maybe in this city they don't have a consulate, so which is the nearest one that can help me? Just in case you run into any legal issues, not only with immigration, but just legal issues in general. Because if your embassy and consulate does not know that you're traveling to, the US, that's going to make it harder for them to help you. So I know that for the US, there is some programs, I forget what it's called, is it SMART or something related to that, where US travelers will tell the State Department, hey, I'm going over here, FYI, in case something bad happens, don't leave me behind, right? Come make sure you pick me up. I'm sure that around the world, all countries have a similar system in place. So make sure you register with your foreign service, with your State Department's website to let them know, hey, I'm going to be in the U.S. in case I run into some legal issues or even natural disasters. Because during the World Cup in the summer, uh, we are in the hurricane season for some of these southern cities like Atlanta, Miami, Houston, even Dallas for that matter. So yeah, just want to make sure if there's any natural disasters or any bad happens with the law, they can help you out. So that's the first overarching piece of advice. Lawyer up, have the numbers of your embassy and consulate, and let your embassy and consulate or your State Department in your country know that you are traveling to the United States. All right, so the second piece of advice is to make sure that you have all your travel plans booked and ready to present to the border agent at the port of entry when you're coming to the United States. Okay. Do not leave any part of your itinerary as I'll figure it out, because that is going to give these agents the excuse to harass you, to detain you, and to pretty much do a lot of bad things to you. Okay. There's a recent news story that came out that two German citizens, these ladies were 18 and 19, I believe, they got detained in Hawaii when they tried to enter Honolulu International Airport because when they presented their travel plans to the agent at the port of entry, they basically said they didn't have a specific address where they're going to stay at. They were going to pretty much backpack across Hawaii and the U.S. for several weeks. And that was the red flag. And that was basically the excuse that these agents needed in order to detain them. Now, should they have strip searched them, body searched them, hold them in a holding cell, I believe for 24, 48 hours? I might have gotten that piece of information wrong. No, they should. That was unnecessary treatment towards ESTA travelers, right? Remember, ESTA is the visa-free travel program that the U.S. provides to 48 countries, including Germany. They shouldn't have treated these individuals that bad, okay? But put it this way, if you're not traveling from an ESTA country, say Colombia, say from any of these other parts around the world, imagine if that's how they treated ESTA travelers. I do not trust CBP agents to treat non-ESTA travelers any better. If anything, more than likely they're going to treat them a lot worse. Okay, so I would highly, highly advise you to have all your travel plans in place. Now, here's the part that maybe I need help from attorneys. This might be a bit of a controversial take, but I know that from a lot of fans of the global south, hell, let's just say from around the world, you might have family here in the States, right? Or if you're watching this and you're a person in the States and have family from Latin America, from anywhere around the world, and you're telling them, hey, just come stay at our house during the World Cup, I am concerned that CBP, ICE is not going to, let your family members through the port of entry because they're going to see it as, oh, no, you're not coming here for the World Cup. You're coming here to overstay your visa. You're here to enter the country illegally. That's my first concern. Second concern is that's information that then now could be placed or be given by CBP to ICE to potentially harass you in the future. It might be fear mongering, but quite frankly, I do not trust these institutions to use this information carefully. I do not trust them. Personal experience with those entities myself, not for World Cup travel, but from previous life experiences. Okay. So if your plan was to stay with friends and family in the US, you're probably going to have to change that. You're probably going to want to book hotels instead, okay? Because I do not see that as a safe option for you to enter the United States. They're going to want people to stay in hotels, probably to increase the amount of money that they can make off this World Cup too. It could be that. I think that was also kind of a thing that was happening with the Qatar World Cup. If I'm trying to be fair and balanced, I know that was a similar situation with Qatar. The Qataris were not allowing people to stay in the homes of Qataris. But again, Qatar and the United States are two very different situations here. So all this to say, be ready to present your travel plans at the border to ensure that you give these agents no excuses to detain you at the port of entry. Okay, one of the many fond memories that fans that went to the 1994 USA World Cup was the fact that they could road trip across the country and see all the sights that this country does have to offer. Look, I'm not going to obviously say all negative things about the United States. If there's one thing that I do love of this country, of my country, because I was born here in the US, is that, geez, the amount of natural beauty that we have is insane. Okay, it really is insane. The national parks are top tier and whatnot. But if your plans were to backpack or road travel this World Cup, those plans might be very scrutinized by those Border Patrol agents at the port of entry. Okay. So if you were considering doing that, have all your car rental booked before too. You just can't leave things to chance. You can't leave it to, oh, I'll figure it out. You cannot give these agents any excuse to stop you from entering the country. Okay. So road traveling, right? Present your RV receipts. Present the dates of of the purchase of the RV, or excuse me, of the rental of the RV from when you pick it up to when you drop it off. Because again, you don't want to give these people any reason to stop you at the border, or then afterwards, as they're tracking you, but as they're making sure that you leave the U.S. on time, and that's some other separate points that I have here. But just make sure that you give them that information, okay, of your car rental, RV rental, whatever they may be. If you were looking to backpack, that might not work for you, okay? Another story that happened over in the Pacific Northwest and the Washington state border with Canada, a Welsh citizen was also detained for 10 days because there was some quirk in her visa and she was going back and forth between Washington state and Vancouver, and they detained her for 10 days, and the British government was like, can you please let her go? Like, this is nonsense, okay? I would, at least from a traveler's perspective, strongly advise against backpacking during the 2026 World Cup. First of all, they might not even let you into the U.S. if that is your travel plan. Oh, I'm just going to backpack. They're probably going to stop you. They're going to detain you. They're going to send you to one of these detention centers. And I don't want you to go through that experience. I don't want you to, go through a dehumanizing experience, but then B, I don't want you to help support these private prison companies that are benefiting off of that. Okay. Um, oh, basically consider ticketed travel. Okay. Anything that you could present to the border agent as here's my plane ticket, here's my train ticket, here's my car rental, anything that you could show them that all of this has been booked already, that is, give yourself the best chance possible to dissuade them from saying, no, you're not allowed to enter the United States. Okay, next, make sure that you're sharing all your travel plans with friends and family on both sides, right? From your country of origin and here in the States, okay? Related to that, travel in large groups. I don't mean two people, because clearly, as an example of these two German ladies in Hawaii, I think with two ladies, there's a lot of potential SA situations that can happen here. Ladies, if you're coming in here for the World Cup, travel in bigger groups than two. Travel in four, travel in six, 10. Screw it. Y'all need to protect yourselves. Okay? If travel with men as well, I we need to think about protection here. Okay? Above all else. Okay? And the larger the travel group is, that could serve in some weird psychological way as a deterrence for these CPB agents to mess with that group. Yes, obviously you can't make a scene at the port of entry, not airport, at the port of entry there. It's you're not gonna be able to fight these people, right? However, the bigger the group, that means more people are on the phone right away. They get on social media right away, and just it blows up, right? It like, well, I probably shouldn't use the word blows up, but you get what I mean, right? The news would spread quicker that somebody in your group got stopped, is being detained and harassed, and then right away the scrutiny comes into play, and that's what we're gonna need to depend on. We're gonna need to depend on the scrutiny of the media. If stories like that happen during the World Cup, you best believe I'm going to be resharing those, because the more and more and more pressure we can put on these CPP agents and folks that are at the border to prevent them from harassing fans just wanting to come in and watch these games, the better experience we could give to people. Now, as better of an experience, right? None of these things should be happening in the first place. Of course, I think we could all agree to that. But make sure that you're traveling in large groups, more than two people. It's got to be, I think, honestly, it's got to be bigger, four or more, okay? To give that deterrence feeling to these agents. They might not still give a shit. I'll just be completely honest about that, okay? But at least there's a rapid response for you in case you get detained. If you're traveling by yourself, that's probably about the worst idea, okay? Do not travel by yourself to the US for the World Cup or Club World Cup. Travel in groups. Let your friends and family know, hey, I got off the plane. Hey, I'm about to hit what is this, the customs line. Hey, I made it past the customs line. Hey, I got on a taxi. Let your friends and family know where you're at all times. Okay? Because in community, that's how we're going to all be able to protect ourselves and protect each other from these abuses that these agents have been given the green light to give to people. All right, final piece of advice. Leave when you have to leave. All right. Look, I hate playing into the hands of this administration when it comes to their draconian policies when it comes to immigration. But I'm just telling you to leave when you're supposed to leave, because I don't want you in El Salvador. I don't want you in one of these detention centers, because I personally know how terrible they are. Okay. I myself had not been detained or any of that sort in one of these detention centers, but my mom has been. Okay. And I know to a point how bad conditions are there. And this was 20-ish years ago. So imagine now. Okay. Leave when you have to leave. Don't play around. Okay. Because the last thing I want to hear is that one of my followers, one of you, has decided to overstay because you think you could pursue the American dream as an undocumented person, and you're rotting away in one of these detention centers. Please, you're just going to have to exercise all caution. And if you're going to come here, do everything that I said before. And when it's time to go, por favor, do yourself the favor and leave. All right, let's wrap up this video. Again, this video was not meant to be fear-mongering, okay? This is based on the incidents that have already been happening at the ports of entry all throughout the United States. And this is just based on sound travel advice that I can provide. Of course, I'm not an attorney. Attorneys, if you are here in the comments, please provide additional legal advice. But my advice to you when it comes to legal stuff is to lawyer up, consult with an attorney, and make sure that you're good to go there. Okay. I just want to make sure that fans coming here to the US understand the risks and understand what's needed to navigate this new time that we're in. Okay. This is not the USA 1994 World Cup, mi gente. It is not. We live in a different time. We live under an administration that is and has basically proven itself to be anti immigrant and white supremacist. Okay. Granted, the white supremacist part doesn't make sense because they're detaining German citizens, Welsh people, Canadians. You get the point. So I just want to make sure that you do not become one of the headlines. I want to make sure that you travel and are able to enjoy this World Cup as much as you possibly can. Okay. Because I know it still means a lot for a lot of you. Okay. Go ahead, make sure you subscribe, like this video, click on the bell button to be notified of when these videos come out. Please make sure you support me on all other socials, and please share this video. The video needs to be shared so that way the algorithm can pick it up. I have about 2 months left to go before I can monetize this video, before I start losing the views that I heard from last year, and that's going to make it a little bit more difficult to be able to hit that 4,000 mark. We just crossed the 2,000 hour public watch hours threshold. We still have another 2,000 to go. So we're 50% to go. Now we're going to try to blitz to that goal. Bueno, mi gente, I'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for your sintonía. Muchas gracias por su tiempo. I'll see you next time.